Hello and welcome or welcome back. I'm Goddess Dawn. It's Sunday, July 28th, 2019. And I'm back today to talk about Robert Sylvester Kelly. We know that Kelly is still being detained in custody in solitary confinement, they're saying, in the Federal Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago. Some reports state that he will remain jailed until the outcome of his upcoming trial. Other reports seem unclear since he's facing multiple indictments in multiple jurisdictions. All we know for sure is what's happening currently, and even the current reports aren't 100% truth. What we do know is that there was a hearing on Thursday, the 25th of July, and during said hearing, some interesting bits of information were revealed. So I'm just going to go to the article from the Chicago Sun-Times. The headlines: charges against others in federal R. Kelly child porn case possible, prosecutor says. And that was the big headline, is that there's charges against others that could be coming. I've been saying this. The possibility of other people being indicted is very possible. A prosecutor in the R. Kelly federal child porn case said Thursday there might be charges coming against additional defendants. The brief disclosure came during a hearing in the U.S. District Judge Harry Leinenweber's courtroom at the Durskin Federal Courthouse. At the time, Assistant U.S. Attorney Angel Kroll is arguing in favor of a request to keep evidence in the case sealed. She said that because of the nature of the case, some witnesses have been unwilling to come forward. Kroll warned of a chilling effect. So she's arguing to keep evidence in the case sealed because of the nature of the crimes, also the susceptibility of manipulation, of coercion, of tampering. She has to protect the evidence and also make it clear to other accusers that it is okay to come forward. You will be protected. You will be heard. You will not be harassed or threatened or harmed for coming forward. It continues. Then, without specifics, she told Leinenweber that the investigation against Kelly is ongoing and that it may lead to more people being charged. Kroll also asked for an order protecting evidence and limiting what attorneys can say publicly about the evidence, saying Kelly's fans have harassed potential witnesses. People. There is something to be said about Kelly's fans, or supporters, as I like to call them. They're very protective. They're aggressive. They don't read. They don't watch. And they don't care about anything other than their R. Kelly being able to perform and keep doing what he's doing. Everybody else is lying. So, like he said in his own words, he has infected the mainstream for 30 years now. It's too late. It's too late for some of y'all, but not everybody. Mike Leonard, one of Kelly's attorneys, didn't seem overly concerned about the revelation. That's news to us, Leonard told reporters after the hearing, but it's something prosecutors often say. So what he's saying is that this is a typical argument and they're not worried about it. And Mike Leonard is, I guess, a newer attorney. I think Greenberg would kind of been the face because he was in on the stuff early with probably not charging R. Kelly. He wanted to get that FaceTime, which he's been getting. And I made a comment about the female attorney, Becker, I think is her last name. And also in my reading, because a female came up, a female who will be helping him not only financially but also with his business. And I thought it might be her, but I saw something that's pretty much put out there that she is not licensed to practice law in Chicago or in New York, only in Michigan. So I don't know what that means, if anything. So this continues. Kelly, he's supposed to be arraigned in New York next month, August 2nd, I believe. A representative from the U.S. Marshal Service in Chicago said Thursday he's concerned about how his agency would transport Kelly to the East Coast, suggesting the possibility of a video conference arraignment instead. And those things are not uncommon. Seems to me that a video conference for him is the best bet. If it's true that he denied this request, which is what it's saying here, is that R. Kelly does not want to do the video conference. He wants to appear in person in New York. And Greenberg was arguing that it's his legal right to do so. I feel like maybe he just wants to stretch his legs and get a ride from Chicago to New York. But here, U.S. Marshals are arguing that they're concerned about how they could pull this off. Kelly supposedly doesn't like to fly. I mean, they said they'll spare no expense regarding this case, the feds. So if they have to fly him, and he hates flying too, but I don't know. I just feel like if he slips through any fingers, it's going to be a problem. So this article goes on to talk about how the judge, Lenin Weaver, revealed he'd never heard of the R&B star until the case landed in his courtroom. And he stated in quotes here, "To be honest, my wife thinks it's rather humorous that I didn't know who Mr. Kelly was." And to me, that's weird because he was sworn into his federal judgeship in 2002 in Chicago. And that's the same year R. Kelly was arrested and indicted for the child porn charges that he faced in 2008. I'm sure he had heard of R. Kelly at that point, or he knew who he was. But I don't know this to be fact. But yeah, back to the fans. The fact that the prosecutors are saying the fans are harassing potential witnesses. You guys are out here wilding out, protecting this man against girls and women who have been abused as minors, blanketly stating that they're all lying. I mean, these comments are just really sad. So in other news, it's also being reported that R. Kelly's girlfriends will fly to New York for his arraignment on charges he's also facing there. And it goes hand in hand with the other story that's out about how they're out here trying to get an agent, trying to secure legit representation so they can break into Hollywood. I mean, somebody has to put food on the table, right? It's said that they don't have any financial support, that the person who was holding the money ran out on the plug. The bag is not secured and they need to secure it ASAP. So, being that there's a lot of speculation behind the girls in the first place, it's being said out here in these streets that they out here howling for food. Hopefully that's not the case. And they know they have options. So the fact that they're choosing to continue this circus act and go even further with trying to break into Hollywood, legit break into Hollywood, it's just not good. I just feel like that's a bad decision. This is just a bad decision. Azriel is very talented. She's a very talented singer. And Joycelyn, she, her singing ability isn't, in my opinion, where Azriel's is, but she could be an overall good entertainer, which can go a long way. If they had a reality show right now, I guarantee you they would be at the top of the ratings charts. So, I mean, if instead of trying to get an agent, they could just live stream and they'll come running to them. Isn't that how it works? You pop yourself off and then they come after you and you have more leverage even because you already popping. But how are they surviving, though? And saying surviving, I could say, how are they surviving R. Kelly at this point? He is in jail with no bail. It's a lot of unknown when it comes to his case. And I did a reading recently, and if you watch to the end, you see some things revealed about the women, specifically very talented one who will actually become successful should she choose to pursue her talent in a big way. It just seems the story is growing more and more legs. And as I've stated in previous videos, and as reported in this article from the Chicago Sun-Times, more charges may be coming down along with more defendants. Which reminds me, I came across this post on Twitter, I think, but it's basically an R. Kelly fan asking his attorney, Steve Greenberg, about a post made by Don Russell, who is R. Kelly's, I guess, former manager. You guys may remember he had done that video, kind of like the crisis manager. He like said a whole bunch of stuff that just really was him putting his foot in his mouth and seemingly working for the prosecution with stating some of the things that he did. I have a video up about him, actually probably a couple. If you go back into the archives, I think it's something about the insiders. Yeah, you'll find him there. So he posted on a Facebook group that's now closed, because you know I tried to go over there and see what was cracking. But it says, to all RSK Day One fans, the Clarys and Savages planted a lot of moles, i.e. Steve Greenberg, Nicole Blank-Becker, Daryl Johnson, James Mason, John Holder, Dana J., Jasmine Jazzy Johnson, whom by the way is Geronda's sister, Joycelyn Savage, and Azriel Clary, to disrupt RSK's life and camp. Joy and Az deflected because they were against their family's malicious agenda after getting to know RSK. And you guys know RSK is Robert Sylvester Kelly. So he's basically saying that all of the players that we know to be involved in R. Kelly's current camp, he's stating that they are moles. And clearly he's concerned, and he's accusing the Clarys and the Savages of planning these people. His post continues, RSK pulled together a covert team of investigators, and we began to weed out the villains and unravel the conspiracy around his life and career. Though we have uncovered a lot, unfortunately time was not on our side. We have begun to secretly film our own docu-series starring RSK and a ton of unforeseen content. This entire public lynching derived from greed. There is an enormous amount of information along with the evidence that is purposely being disregarded because of the government and special interests. The current judicial agenda will not be overturned unless a malicious string of events are moved into play. Don Russell. This is the strangest post ever, and there's a lot in there. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. Do you think he's just smoking a little too much, a little too harsh of a strain? He can't take it. He out here hallucinating and paranoid. Is he tripping? Or is this something that we need to actually take seriously? If these people are moles, that actually would make sense as far as Greenberg and Johnson are concerned. I don't know, James Mason himself had been indicted recently, and he's facing charges for that terrorist threat against Tim Savage, Joycelyn's father, threatening to kill him. I think the threat was that if you air this documentary, we got something for you. I'm not sure about the other people's name, but I do have a video also of, I think it is called The Insiders, and it names, it shows a lot of these people and like talks about the relationships they've had to Kelly and how it puts them in a vulnerable position. And here we are today. I don't know what prompted him to post something like this. I think the group is comprised of supporters of R. Kelly, but I mean, he's got to know that there's people who would actually get a hold of some of the things that are within it. This person posted it on Twitter and asking the Greenberg, like, what's up with this? And nobody's scrubbing down the internet when it comes to R. Kelly, I don't think either. He doesn't seem to have anybody on his behalf trying to keep stuff like this off of the internet, because it's definitely not a good look. And I mean, it for the supporters, I guess you fans would say that this is proof that R. Kelly is being buried under false allegations and being set up. But no, that's not the case. What he's saying is that the information that the feds have, a lot of it is because of these plants that were put in here from the Clarys and the Savages. He wouldn't have no problems if it wasn't for the Clarys and the Savages. R. Kelly might not even be locked up right now if not for them, to be honest. So, however they got to this point, I salute them. Regardless of what other shenanigans are outside of this, I salute them for their consistency and the love that they have for their children enough to endure the backlash that they get, and you know, the people out here just disrespecting them for being parents. But keep doing you, and we're gonna ride this out and see how this goes. What do y'all think of all of this? The prosecutors saying that they want to keep evidence sealed. There might be more charges, more defendants coming, that the fans are harassing potential witnesses, and that's another reason for them to request the evidence to be sealed. You fans out here are messing up this case, whether you know it or not. You're not making it better. Oh, that's right. So they are also saying that Lifetime ordered up a sequel to Surviving R. Kelly docuseries. Also, they're going to do one on Epstein, in the same vein, called Surviving Jeffrey Epstein, and they're going to break down, I guess, his charges and what's going on with him. The Surviving R. Kelly, I thought there was another follow-up, but this follow-up is from the original producers and people involved. I think the one prior to this was a separate follow-up, and it didn't get the attention that they probably would have liked. But I think this one that's coming up from Lifetime is legit follow-up, and it's going to also be a 4-parter, and it's going to cover all of the current things that are going on with him since the documentary aired. So with that being said, I don't want to see any more comments about Weinstein and Epstein. Both of them are going to also get their due. And, you know, I'm worried about my people. And that's what we focused on when it comes to this R. Kelly situation. But I'm going to leave this here. Thank you as always for tuning in and checking me out. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video and hit the comments. Let me know you were here. Let me know what you think. And until next time, peace.